With the Attitude Super Duper Morning Show, and we are back. We got a guest joining us in the building from SMCP. We have to say good morning to MP Claude Chacho Peterson. Good morning, Chacho.
Good morning, Super. Always a pleasure to be on this program.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, it's always 20 minutes, but I guess young people don't have time to waste with the attention span.
Well,
20 minutes is good.
I don't think it's really that.
Yeah.
With us, we just
To the
like
point.
to go straight
Yeah,
there.
I agree. I
We
agree
don't
with that
want
too.
we don't want to walk around the building before we go on the entrance.
Yeah.
I agree to that
Yeah,
too.
straight
So,
there.
And it's kind of a challenge to you guys to see if you could really get everything that you need to
Yeah.
say within 15 minutes.
well, maybe that should every radio station should do that.
Yeah,
that would
why
help.
not? I mean, here at least we turn up the AC for you.
Yeah,
Here you go. Here you go.
I hear the people say that that's how it is be by the prosecutor. Hi.
So, Chacho, good to have you here. Of course, we
Thank
all
you.
know the situation right now that's going on with the government, the whole current situation that's going on. What's your personal take on it?
Well, my personal take on it, first of all, just like the last time, is that elections is really not the right thing right now for the country. But as we explained today in a joint press release that we did with Pastor and myself, based on what I experienced for the past year, I really think that there's no other option. Why? Because the level of sabotage and the level of outside influences that this government has experienced, as a council of ministers, I think they took the right decision to call Article 59. Mostly based on the fact of our situation having to rely on a Dutch and having to rely on a trust fund. Whether we like it, Super, that is a reality. That is not something I am happy to be dealing with, because I believe St.Maarten should be self-sustaining, and I'm very hopeful because I know we have an economy to be able to do that. But this government, Stuart, no, we say I call it Stuart again.
The second time. I got deleted
It
from
must
my
be the
WhatsApp.
building. Super, the reality is that as long as we don't bring the financial reforms so that we can actually collect the money that the government needs to provide the services to the people, and if we don't tackle the government apparatus and reform things, that the civil servants also carry out their job the way it's supposed to be, and until we don't tackle the corruption in this country, right, what happens is we will continue to have instability, and we will continue not be able to provide for the people.
Now, you as an MP, how do you see yourself tackling some of those things, at least for now, before elections?
Well, there's not much to tackle at this point anymore, because right now we are in a very precarious situation where, a lot of the things that are ongoing are going to be hampered right now, because, certain people are going to look at it as the instability, and certain people will say the ethical thing to do is not to proceed with certain things until a new government is in place. For example, Minister Smith has tendered his resignation. I tendered my resignation as a second chair. I remain an MP, but I really don't see what we will be able to achieve until November. Because you're going into election mode. So, and we still have to see what the governor also intends to do, whether this government is going to stay on as a caretaker,
right,
or there's going to be the formation of a new government, which in itself is kind of crazy, because with the screening, it's going to take at least 4-6 weeks
right,
to screen a minister, and then bam, election right there. So you'll be a minister again for like a month. So you have to pay the outgoing ministers, plus you have to pay the new ones that come in. So it really, this is the worst case scenario, and unfortunately, as we will see now, everybody gonna start pointing fingers at each other as to why. So everybody blaming MP Myers now. But MP Myers declared independent, but he also made it very clear that it was not about, it's declaring independent from UD, but not about forming a government with nobody else.
Right.
And he didn't. And we actually seriously tried. I thought actually by yesterday that we were going to be back, the 8 of us together. So on Sunday, this was all, I happened to be off island the week before. So I said, let me get away from all this. Nobody ain't going to blame me of trying to manipulate and form no government with nobody. But the reality is that we even prepared a new coalition agreement as SMCP, and that was distributed to UD and to MP Myers.
Right.
So I really thought I was come back to tell the people, hey, we're back together, we recommitted, we tweaked what were our issues, and we would go forward. Because stability is key, super. You know, I have had people tell me stability above integrity. There was never about that. You understand? We have never, and I have definitely not compromised my integrity, but stability above pettiness, definitely. Because I had a lot of things I could have just jumped ship for, and then jump ship, leave the coalition during the past year.
But didn't the coalition see or feel something was brewing even before MP Myers said,
if you listen to my speech that day, right, down the closing, I had no clue MP Myers was going to do that.
Yeah.
But if you listen to my speech, you will also notice that my intention was also, and I said it, that was a warning shot from me. As SMCP, UD, we have to sit on the table, and I need a recommitment from all of you, whether are you willing to continue. If not, SMCP will go sit in opposition. Okay? MP Myers knew about that.
Right.
You know, MP Myers knew that from the week before. We had months, super, and I will say that this also intensified after MP Helliger was suspended. But we had months dealing with this. You know, people could see it. It was out in the public. We had MP Brownbill voting with the opposition many times.
Right. Mercelina.
We had MP Mercelina doing the same thing. We had MP Mercelina fire one of his own ministers because that minister was not appointed by SMCP and supported by the opposition. So the past year, super, while everybody expected Chacho to come out and just be bam, 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 that was not my strategy because I had to understand what I was facing. Get to know my coalition partners and also get to know how the opposition operates. And I can tell you, Stuart,
again! I gotta check your phone, you know.
I spent an entire year, right? Pretty much dealing with politics and trying to keep this thing stable and diffusing thing. And the opposition has been very active trying to bring down this government.
Now you have a lot of people stating, you know, their disappointment in SMCP for whatever reasons, whether, you know, they felt that, okay, SMCP was going in, they felt a fresh of breath air. Some of them feel a little disappointed, you know, that how things are not seeming to work out and thing. And you just explained, you know, everybody expected you to go in, you know, guns blazing, but you decided for personal reasons to take a step back and realize what you're going through. But a lot of people still are disappointed with SMCP's performance. What would you have to say?
It's not about personal reasons. It's about strategy.
Okay.
You know, and it's about the individual that I am. You know, I have always been surrounded by elders. You have to stabilize your foundation before you do anything. Being an MP was a new job for me. You understand? So I had to understand my role. I had to know how to go, where to go. Besides that,
is this much more different now that you're in there seeing that?
I could tell you after this year, and I told people, I always tell them, I was a freshman. What do you do your first year in college?
Learn.
You learn, you stabilize, you decide your major, you decide what direction you're exactly going. So on the closing day of Parliament, I graduated from my freshman year. I'm a sophomore. It's no way. I am ready to go now. I know exactly what my major is. I know exactly the direction I'm going. And SMCP has done way more than the people think. We have not only been a good coalition partner, but we have been a good support to the government. Behind the scenes, we have influenced many things that you have seen carried out in the Council of Ministers and that are ongoing, you know, and that was my focus. It was not about coming and standing up in Parliament and grandstanding, because I'll be honest with you, that is what the people wanted from me. They want me to get up and give them a sensation. That was not my goal. You understand? My goal is first to get to know my job, get to know what I'm surrounded with, understand the procedures, have synchronized with my staff, with people like, you know, Benjamin Bell, who is and my faction staff, and we learned the ropes. And definitely our sophomore year would have been a total different ball game. We're going back into elections now. People again going to try to blame SMCP for that. I can tell you, you can clearly see that this is a decision we did not take lightly, because please understand, going into an election for us as a party that just got one seat, there's no guarantee we're going to get a seat again.
Right.
So we are pretty much willing to give up that seat in Parliament, right, to do the right thing and bring it back to the people and let the people decide. Because at this point, we became ungovernable, not only from a government perspective, but from a parliament perspective.
Now, at one point, also in Parliament, you made a proposal to the Minister of Education when it pertains to the school fights and everything. We were waiting on a plan. I'm not sure how far he's gotten with the plan, but we haven't heard much about it. And recently, in the last couple of days, we've seen an increase again when it comes to the school fights. And these times they are becoming even more violent than we've been seeing. What's the situation?
Well, again, that was a motion that was brought. It was something actually that was discussed within the coalition. I happened to be the one to deliver the motion. It was based also on a meeting that had already happened at the university. By I always just forget the name of that department, but it's like 3 S's in a D. Student services,
support service department.
But the reality is, I think the deadline, and that's something that I learned, the deadline we gave to the minister was really too short. He did come back eventually with the proposal. They have been working on that, and each school has a plan on how to deal with school fights and all of that. I think this is definitely a topic that needs to be looked into further. It's something I believe that the young people also should really get involved in and actually lead the discussion on. And that was really what my motion was about. My motion was also echoing not my sentiments on everything, but actually things that came about in that meeting from the public. So that's definitely a topic that we can surely revisit. Should SMCP be back in government or in Parliament.
All right. The meeting with CNUPS, which you requested, is that still going ahead?
Well, it can totally go ahead because although the chair has resigned and I have resigned, the meeting can still go ahead. The chair can still, the chair lady, Sarah Williams, can still preside over that meeting. I actually yesterday, sent a letter to the greffier to be copied to all members of Parliament, where I request the status of that meeting according to Article 6 of the Rules of Order. Basically, this new coalition of 9, I in that letter I'm asking if they're gonna follow Article 6 and basically call a meeting to basically appoint who their chairs are going to be now, so that they could preside over that meeting. Barring that, if they don't preside over it, don't do that, then the chair lady can definitely preside over that meeting. And I look forward to that meeting tomorrow, because I think more than ever now it would be very important for us to find out what could possibly happen to the airport financing and all of the trust fund and all the other projects that are already ongoing. But
we've been hearing talks also that why go to CNUPS and ask the questions when you have your ministers who could do that?
It was very simple. I mean, calling clubs to Parliament was not for him to come to, account to us, because we don't have the right to do that. He doesn't account to us. He accounts to the second chamber. And why CNUPS is because clearly CNUPS is the one that has been delegated to deal with the trust fund. He has been the one also delegated to deal actually with the government when it comes to the reconstruction. And my agenda points are surrounding that. I also listened to many things the opposition said. I mean, MP Richardson say why shouldn't CNUPS come to Parliament? I did that. I said, hey, bring him to Parliament, because his name is probably the name was called the most during this past year in Parliament.
But a lot of past meetings too, they've been asking, even opposition were asking.
But that's what I'm saying. So what's the big deal now? He's not coming to account. I got an idea. I did my due diligence. I called the meeting. I got support from MP Myers and MP James. And it's a meeting request, and it was accepted by KNOPS. But I guess the whole political thing of wanting, why didn't I think about that? Why didn't I do that? I think that's what a lot of it comes to. So they have now to spin it. I'm the type of person, let's go to the source. The Prime Minister cannot speak on behalf of KNOPS. She has tried it numerous times to let the population know what her discussions with KNOPS have been. She have done it in Parliament, and you know what she has been accused of? Being a sellout to the Dutch, being a liar, and all names, KNOPS being the Prime Minister, KNOPS being an extra minister and a com. So you know what? If we are representatives of the people, let's face the man that we are accusing. You understand? If he's willing to come, right, which he clearly is, when I thought of the idea, I said, he probably is the right one to actually accept this invitation, because he has, from what I understand, a military background. He has also a political background. So, this is not somebody that's just going to shy away and worry about the whole protocol. And he actually accepted. He answered with in an article that, he's willing to come. That happened, I think, the night after the same day of my request. So I look forward to that meeting. I hope the opposition will show up. I challenge them. There's a new coalition. Come and talk to him. Now, I will just add this, Super. I really don't understand the basis of what this coalition was formed on. Because usually, SMCP believes you form a coalition on a basis. We formed with UD on a basis of the trust fund, and on the basis of the fact that we needed to, at this point in our history, we needed to improve the relations with the kingdom, because we needed them to rebuild, right? And in order for us to really reach the type of financial stability and things, we needed that help, okay? Now,
well, according to Marcelita, he said from his side, it was based off of, the whole thing with poverty and the airport and the hospital.
But how do you deal with poverty? How do you deal with poverty in a country, right, if you don't deal with your proper financial management? The government needs to be in a position to help with poverty, okay? Let's be honest. They're saying nothing was spent from the trust fund in the country. $22.5 million was spent since Irma, right, since the trust fund has been set up, to basically give support to unemployed people. It was done via NIPA. They go to a training, they get the $550 a month, and they get to keep their SZV. Do you know what would have happened in this country without that? We don't have the money to do that, Super. Okay.
Plus also the liquidity.
Then we would have real poverty.
Yeah. Plus also the liquidity, which helps to pay.
Now, my opinion on poverty, and people may not like to hear that. Okay. I have no doubt that there's poverty in this country. I have been into some of those neighborhoods, okay? Not looking votes, okay? I've been in those neighborhoods at other times. I can't say that it's been a good experience to be in those neighborhoods, okay? I've seen a lot of immigrant populations in those neighborhoods, right? But yet, Super, it is a kind of a contradiction when you see people living in those circumstances in those neighborhoods, right? But then you see the long lines at Western Union. And then you ask yourself, if there's really poverty in this country, which a lot of times it is people that are here that are immigrants that are living here, right? But yet there's such long lines at Western Union, then you ask yourself, if there's the real poverty that we want to equate to other countries, I don't see it, Super. What I do believe, right, and I believe that strongly, because poverty is also determined by, let's say, the knee boot standard is one of the ways where you set a line of what the income should be of a single parent, a single person, or a couple, thing like that. Right. Should we combat this? Absolutely. But you can't put the cart before the horse. You have to deal with your financial management. This country has so much money passing through it, right? But it's not reaching the coffers of government. Right. If it doesn't reach the coffers of government, right, what we have a government that is just there. We have a population that will keep complaining, right? And we will continue to have instability. We want to solve poverty, let's go 4 years with a government. That is how we start to effect change in poverty. You cannot effect change in poverty by just having 9 governments in 9 years. And that is the reality.
Right. November 25th. elections. That's when elections is set for. Do you feel it's being rushed?
Super, I expect the conversation is going to come up as, this is like being in a twilight zone. Hard for me to even muster the feeling to go back into another election. I heard your co-host, Roma mention about nobody coming to him to ask him to vote. Well, first of all, Roma, I think that's a very valid point you make. I can tell you, me as a candidate, I rarely ask anybody to vote for me. I actually had people come up to me and tell me after, but you never asked me for your vote. So it goes back to what I heard from older politicians say, if you don't ask, you ain't gonna get. And people actually get mad. But I stuck to my point where I got 134 votes the first time. I got 135 the second time.
What?
Right? So I gained 1 vote. Besides that, I didn't go out and ask nobody to vote for me. I went in nobody's house. I went in. And this election, you can better believe I will be doing the same thing again. Why? Because I am embarrassed, right, to continuously be sitting down in front of people and tell people vote for me, and then the people saying, yeah, but you just like all the others. The thing. No, I am not like all the others. Absolutely not. I have demonstrated that, and I will continue that. I hope this time I get 136. I hope I get 136 because that would be progress for me. You understand? Because if I get now 70 or I get 100 or thing, then pretty much the population has spoken, told me what to do. Then I don't need to force it from there. You understand? But I asked the population in this coming election. I think it is rushed in a sense, but that is what our laws prescribe. I expect also that, I heard of this new party coming. I hope that they have already registered because, if not, they will fall into the same problem as other parties have faced in the past, which last time I think was one of the reasons why it was delayed. The election was delayed again. So, I hope that new party gets the opportunity. I definitely think it's very important to have, again, new parties coming in and things, because I can clearly tell you, okay, from my experience this past year, which people should be aware that SMCP was not the problem, okay? But I can tell you, the older parties, they ain't willing to change. They ain't willing to change. And I can tell you, you're talking about an old shot with new tread and things like that. I can tell either, you hit the nail on the head too. Because the new ones, right, that I personally spoke on this show and that I expected would chart a different course, let me tell you, there's a few of them, right? I prefer to keep the old than have those new, because they're going to do 100 times worse, right, in less time than the older politicians did in 30 years. It's going to take them 4 years. Okay?
Now, a lot of people are talking about, quick, because we're running out of time, electoral reform. Your thoughts on that?
Electoral reform is one of my biggest disappointments because SMCP was very vocal about that. I was very vocal about that. And we have a committee of parliament on that. I am part of that committee. And I am really disappointed that we didn't get around to that. But like I say, we spent a whole year trying to keep this government stable, trying to diffuse the attacks from the opposition. And when I say attacks, I don't mean in the media, right? The meddling within the coalition, right? The playing in certain MPs' minds by certain individuals in the opposition, which you saw played out on Parliament. The constant thing, I mean, that is what we ended up spending time doing, and that is so unfortunate, because like I told many opposition members, right, and the day with God's blessing that SMCP is in a position to be in opposition, we will show the population how it is to be in opposition, because the goal of opposition for the last 9 years, that is almost 10 years that this government has been in place, this new system, parliamentary system, the role of the opposition has been to bring down the government, to destabilize it and to get into power. SMCP in opposition will never entertain in that. We will be hard on the government as to what they need to do, right? And when they do right things, we will agree with them. And when they do wrong things, we will let the population know. But this country deserves a government for 4 years. When you go into election, right, there's a informateur process that we triggered, which was to give people a time to really think, as to which party is going to join up. So no 3 o'clock joining up. That was achieved. SMCP brought that to the table. We went into a formation process where we were not part of no con, no melee, no backstabbing, no 3 o'clock meeting behind the formateur back, nothing like that. We ended up being in a government almost with NA and UD. Last minute, the leader of NA told the leader of UD, the formateur, the night before she was interested in joining, the next morning she didn't want to join no more. Okay? No. So that led to eventually saying, okay, UD and SMCP will join. We gave the formateur all opportunities to join with any other party. Could have joined USP, could have joined NA, could have 3 of them could have joined.
So the situation, the way where it said that you wouldn't work with USP because of the the legal situation that the leader was going through.
But why do we keep repeating that? I have said that a million times. The leader has said it a million times. When we joined UD, MP Brownbill had a legal situation. We knew full well that MP Helliger would possibly have a legal situation. It was never about the leader of USP legal situation.
So was that a spin, you think?
It was totally a spin. It was about the party in general. It was about certain members on that party, okay, that we feel that we did not want to be in a coalition with, and I will never regret that decision, Super, because this year has only proven it to me, and I believe in time, right, not only my person, but the party, right, will be vindicated, right, as to that decision we made. Now, in politics, you don't close the door. When we closed that door, we knew full well the ramifications of doing such. And personally, I don't regret it. It brought a lot of negativity to the party, but so be it. But like I said, Super, I hope the people are also gonna remember this, and I said this many times. The integrity of the messenger of the messenger is more important than the content of the message. Without integrity, the message has zero value. Voters have to keep that at the top of their mind. Do a little research. Don't go on Facebook and look at a parliament meeting, and because they hit and they fire shots and they call people names and think that get you excited. Don't rely on that. Go and do your own research. There's a government website, okay? There's a parliament website. There's information from General of the Chamber. Go and research and get the information for yourself.
Recently the report from Parliament also came out as well, so
definitely go through that. But also reach out to people. There are individuals in this community that have integrity, that are usually in all age groups, right, that approach somebody like that. Talk to them and try to get information. And if you have to sit down as a group, okay, and try to understand something, right, do that. But do not get caught up in the whole he say, they say, the whole hype the thing, because I could have get up and do all of that, you know. Super, I will leave you mention this also, because I must mention it. So much things were said about this government, and I really want to say it today, because I've been saying it already since yesterday and even before. I want to see what the opposition with the two ship jumpers from the UD will do so far as the relationship within the kingdom, so relationship with KNOPS, liquidity support from the Dutch, trust fund, the financing of the airport, right? The FATF laws that are now on the table that will surely lead us to being blacklisted, right? What they're going to do about like things like the integrity chamber, and the list goes on. Right. All of these things that they heavily criticize, okay? This was not a regular criticism. They went out of their way to go all the way to the extreme side. So what I expect from this 9 is to, first of all, on Wednesday, to show up to the meeting.
I love the name.
What the name is?
Super 9.
Super 9?
Yeah,
okay,
love the name. All
right. You know what they're fighting to decide now? Who gonna wear the cape? Because I got too much superheroes in it. You understand? And you can't have only they say the Avengers. You can't have only superheroes. Okay? No. The reality is, I expect them to start by Wednesday. Start to tell Secretary KNOPS in his face, we have Plan B, C, D, E, F, or whatever plans they have by now, right? Don't come St.Maarten no more to tell us nothing, because you don't tell us what we got to do in our country, because they think they stay in Parliament. Okay? Secondly, keep your money, right? Keep your trust fund money, right? We don't want your money for your airport. We don't want your liquidity to come. You're paying our salaries because we lowering our salaries. So mind your business, right? I want him to say these things.
Right.
You understand? Tell them that, and then follow it. Lastly, by telling that not only State Secretary Klops, but Prime Minister Rutte and the whole Dutch population, government, you name it. Tell them basically we going independence. Those are the things I expect to hear from this Super 9. You understand? So let's make it happen. Because if this was the worst government in history, right? Don't start by now trying to turn the story now for you to work with the same people that you criticize this government about. Their press, one of their first press releases come out, right? Was saying, and I'm paraphrasing now, they are going to be seeking to foster, you know, with the kingdom partners, to foster a relationship with the kingdom partners. So come out and say, the Dutch, don't say kingdom partners. We foster a relationship with Kyoso and Aruba all the time. That's the least. They are not our concern. It's a relationship with the kingdom. Okay? So just come out and tell the people that. So actually, they having a town hall meeting to explain why this government was not good. I think they shouldn't waste their time on that because they did that for a whole year and the people understand what they say already. What they should do now is explain to the people, right, how they're going to bring us to independence and how they're going to tell the Dutch, right, keep your money. I don't want it.
All right.
Okay? And thing.
MP Claude, Chacho Peterson,
So,
thank you for joining us in the studio today. We said we were going to.
I look forward to the meeting with Knops, and I'll tell you something. We usually end those meetings with taking a picture. I need to have a picture with sticks there.
Make sure you wear them pink pants.
I am thinking about it. I am thinking about it, but see, now you say it now, you're going to make me do it now. You're going to make me do it now. I'm going to wear it with black this time. You're going to look better with black this
Thank
time.
you for joining us today in the studio. It was a pleasure. And we promised we were going to keep it short. Well, that was our first slide. So.
Stuart.
Wow. Stuart again! Listen.
Super. I came in by saying, you know, I heard some good news about you.
You did?
Yeah. And I hope the news is true, right? And I gonna find out on Friday.
We'll see.
I find out on Friday.
Free snacks.
So I look forward to I look forward to it being some good news.
All right.
You understand? Okay.
All right, Chacho, take it easy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, keep it locked right here to Laser 101. We're a little over time. We should be expecting a call from Dominica as well, so we're going to see if we're going to get that. But also, we got the Prize at 9 coming up. We got birthdays and social media minute. We're going to talk a little something that we were talking behind the scenes. So let's see if we could hit the nail on the head with that and see what you guys think about it. All right, keep it locked right here to Laser.